Two dojos are at the center of this controversy. What's up, guys? Dave from Team Rubalcava Network, TRN Cobra Kai theories and reactions. Whew. We are jumping on to episode number 2, man. Things seem like they're kind of heating up after episode 1, and man, we're gonna do a breakdown on it. So I do have the slides. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna show any of the videos because I keep having issues, so we're just gonna stick to the slides, and it's almost like scene by scene breakdown. I'll try to stay as close to it as possible, but we'll kind of go through that and then just kind of share some thoughts about it, and that's it, man. So let's kind of jump into this. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so what's interesting is that we did see a backstory to Kreese, so it took me a little while to figure out what the heck was going on in this scene, but we later learned that it's actually Kreese. And what's interesting is that I thought Kreese was actually that guy, the football player, for some reason, because we know Kreese is tough, he's aggressive, he's just like all around tough guy, and so I really thought it was actually this guy right here, that was Kreese. And later we find out that it's actually the waiter. So here we have a recruiter that comes in that's talking to the football player, and I believe his buddy there as well, trying to recruit them. And they just kind of tear it up, but Kreese gets one. And so we will learn a little bit later in this episode what happens to him, but you can see that he's bullied, he's picked on by these guys, he's humiliated by these guys, and it starts to make a lot of sense about his character. So he always talks about showing no mercy, and now we're starting to see for the first time that he wasn't always a tough guy, that sometimes he was picked on, and it kind of changed the trajectory of his arc as a character. And then we kind of fast forward into now Kreese has taken over the dojo completely. We got a lot more students in there, and he's taking over it, man. We finally see that Miguel woke up, right? So Miguel's awake. And this is something that kind of broke my heart. We kind of knew that Miguel would go through some transition, that he would be angry, that he'd be frustrated, he would be hurt. And we see that on Carmen as well, trying to have, you know, positive morale, keep his spirits up. But we slowly are starting to see that Miguel in this episode is starting to kind of slide down that negative slope. And it's going to be a tough one for him to come out of it. So as Johnny and Daniel finally team up, you see Johnny's like half asleep. Ooh, I forgot what that was that he drank, like celery juice. That stuff's the most kale, like that's the most disgusting stuff I've ever tasted, and I have tasted it. But they're looking for Robbie, and they think that actually I don't remember if they thought he was here. They just went to go visit Robbie's mom. For now, it's to visit the mom, see how she's doing. I forgot that in what was it, season 2, that Daniel says that he'll take care of it to put her into rehab and all that. And of course, Johnny starts bickering with her and talking mess like he always does. But I think, man, I was so tired when I saw this one. I think they were trying to just let him know what's going on with Robbie, and if they had seen him. Now, I worked for PetSmart, guys, and when I saw this scene, the moment I saw this, I already knew it was gonna happen. So I did work in a pet store with pythons, and so I kind of knew where this one was going, man. But it was still interesting that how Kreese takes these life situations and kind of turns them into a life lesson for the dojo, and people that aren't willing to get on board, he removes them. He thinks they're weak, and he gets rid of them. And so at this moment, he's realizing that this has become lunch. Lunch for the snake. Now, when we see what happens with Tori in these next couple of scenes, I was actually a little surprised. I remember that she had a tough upbringing. I didn't remember that her mom was sick, and as we start to learn in these scenes, the mom is sick, they're struggling to pay rent. This guy, I'm assuming he's the landlord because he starts talking about rent. He's also fixing a lot of things in there, but he starts to give kind of Tori a hard time, or how do I say, imply what she can do for the rent and all that, which I thought was actually really interesting that they would kind of write in a character like this towards Tori. But then you see right there the aggression that comes out because of that. So, but I actually did see in these scenes a different side of Tori that was trying to be a little more responsible. I think it's a few slides up when she actually sees Kreese and says, I don't want any more karate. And then we have Tango and Cash here that go to jails to actually find out where Robbie might be. And so I always wondered if these two guys would show up again, and here they are. And as usual, Johnny gets tired of nonsense in there. But for the first time I saw actually Daniel get aggressive too, until Johnny backhanded this guy to get some information out of it. So they actually got a good lead for them to figure out where Robbie might be. And right here, Daniel's telling them, if you guys don't tell something, this guy's coming back alone. Now, this was actually really tough for me to see as well. We see that the doctor's coming in, checking in with Miguel. You can just tell, look at his body language, look at his face. This kid is used to always having a smile on his face. He's such full of life and full of energy. And you can see, look at all that loss. The doctor's talking to his mom right now, telling him what's happening. And this has got to be something very scary for Miguel, because I believe he's starting to even realize what's happening, that he is paralyzed. And everyone challenged me that he's not he's paralyzed. And so for the first time there, Carmen got the news that they're saying that, you know, he's got to have surgery and it might help. But for the time being, he's paralyzed. He has no feeling in his feet. And he's starting to come to grips with what's actually happening to him at the moment. And here we have another scene of Tango and Cash looking for Robbie. Happen to talk with Amanda. I know they stop at the gas station, which I think that slide's coming up in a little bit. But I love the banter between these two guys. Whenever Johnny and Daniel are together, oh man, their banter is so hilarious. And then here we have Tori kind of looking at the money, knock on the door. Who is it? None other than Sensei Kreese. And so I am going to give Kreese some credit. So he wants her back at the dojo. He wants her to come back and be a part of the dojo. He's recruiting right now, but he's also going to help her with that problem that she's having. So she doesn't ever say it, but in the video you can see that she keeps looking over to him until Kreese figures out, I think this guy has something to do with what's going on with Tori. Here's young Kreese again getting into a fight with these two guys outside. And I was actually really shocked that the guy wearing the Letterman jacket slapped that girl. I was like, what? Maybe that was more commonplace in the 50s. I don't know, but I was actually a little surprised. But you see that anger raise up in Kreese, and then he goes and handles business. So I think learning a little bit about Kreese kind of put some things into perspective. He's smiling because he got the girl now, but it kind of puts some things into perspective that this so-called tough exterior that he's always had, it wasn't always there. Now here we see Daniel and Johnny, and they spot the van, and they're like, oh, at first I know they think it's Robbie until this guy gets out of the car. So what do? They go on a high-speed chase with Johnny driving like a bat out of hell, man, driving after these guys trying to chase him. And then they leap out of the car. I know Daniel was being a kind of a wuss right here, saying, what are we doing? But they go in there, and here we see one of the most epic fights that we've ever seen, and that I've ever seen with Daniel and Johnny, because we've never seen them fight together. We've never seen them fight as a team together. So I thought this was really amazing. We did have some suspicion that maybe it was the car that had been stolen, maybe something like that. And quite honestly, it was a car. It just wasn't the Cobra Kai car for Johnny. It just happened to be the van. And then Daniel gets the call. We know where Robbie is. And this is a part that Man, it's kind of, oh yeah, here's Kreese kind of putting one on this guy. And he actually gonna cut his finger off, which is awesome. But let's talk about that, Robbie. So I know Daniel, all of his intentions are good, that he wants to help Robbie, but at that age, you're not gonna understand that. All you're gonna understand is the cops came, and the cops came to pick you up. We're gonna see that in a few slides. And here we see where Miguel finally hits kind of his rock bottom, where Johnny's telling him, I'm gonna be here for you, I'm gonna be here for you, I'm gonna help you. And Miguel just kind of loses it and tells him, I did everything that you told me to do, and this is what happened to me. Is just looking at that, right? Just looking at this still picture is just brutal to watch. We knew he was going to go through an emotional journey. We also knew he was going to go through a physical one, but man, those moments, dagger. And here we see that look on Robbie's face, that look of embarrassment, the look of feeling like he let Daniel down, and how quickly that turned to anger as soon as he saw the police. And so I think this was one of the critical pieces. I think there's about 3 or 4 that happened in this season, but this was the first one, the feeling of betrayal for what he did. And I get it, he's young, like I don't know what he was thinking, that he can go out on the run and everyone's gonna look out for him and protect him. Like at some point you gotta face the music and face what you did to be accountable. So in this episode, we do see a couple of cool things. One, we see Daniel and Johnny fight together, which is pretty awesome. And then we get to see what's going to happen, the fate of Robbie. You know, he's been on a run, and we kind of knew that he was going to actually be either turned in or turn himself in the beginning of the season. We didn't think it was going to be late, but we had a feeling that it was going to be in the beginning, which in fact did come true. And this episode for me kind of made me feel like a lot of bad stuff is coming down the line. We see Kreese starting to dig in with the students. We see him recruiting Tori back. I know he's going to continue to recruit more people, right? We already know that. And we just kind of know that this is kind of setting the tone for something bigger to happen a little bit further down in the episodes. But when I originally saw this, and I haven't watched the replay of it, I just remember thinking, this is going to get bad in a couple of episodes. But the cool thing is that we got to see Johnny and Daniel work together, even if it was just temporarily. They worked together, and then it all went to hell right after. So all right, guys, let me know what you think. If you guys enjoy, what was a favorite part of this episode for you, and tell me what you think. Let's get ready for another episode. Once again, thank you for all the support. I appreciate everything you guys do. Let's get ready for the next one. And we got a lot more to do. All right, guys, stay tuned. We'll talk to you later.